Titans Training Camp Report, fueled by Gatorade. I'm Mike Keith, joined by Sports Illustrated and the MMQB's Peter King on the back end of his training camp tour. You're starting to wind it down now. Are you tired of the road yet?
No, Mike, I hate to be corny. This is my favorite time of the year, covering the NFL, because, I mean, you look at today, we get time with a lot of really good people and people who can sort of tell us the story of this season. Every time I go on one of these trips, it's kind of hard to top it, and then we come here and just really had a great day. Spent a long time with Dick LeBeau. Again, I don't want to be corny. He's a national treasure. I mean, he's an unbelievable story. And then I spent some time with Taylor Lewan, and
And he's an unbelievable story.
Well, first of all, Taylor Lewan, you don't necessarily even get to football. You have to get to his tattoos. And, there's no one in the world, I guarantee you, who has a Frank Sinatra mugshot tattoo on his right hand other than Taylor Lewan, I feel safe to say. But anyway, so it's been a very profitable day here in Nashville, so we're happy about that.
You have been bullish on the Titans throughout this offseason. What do you like so much about this club?
Three things mostly. I think number one is the fact that their tackle situation. I mean, look, if you drew up a list of the 6, 8, 10 most important positions on the football field, to me, obviously everybody traditionally has said left tackle. I don't really think there's that much of a difference anymore between left and right tackle. There's some, but I mean, look, if you're playing Von Miller, you better have a pretty good right tackle. The Carolina Panthers found that out in the Super Bowl. And so, I mean, they have a tackle situation that is the envy of everybody in the NFL. They've got 2 26 and younger tackles who ought to be here for the next 8 or 10 years, let's say, protecting Marcus Mariota. Number two, I just think that Marcus Mariota for a long time is going to be a premier quarterback. He's got everything that it takes. He hasn't done it yet, but I think he will. And then number three, see, I don't think that you need to have Von Miller, Khalil Mack. I mean, nobody will say, geez, Arakpo and Morgan, they're pretty good, but I mean, look at what they did last year, 19 sacks or whatever. You got Jarrell Casey. You've got some reinforcements now in the middle. And, hey, look, everybody knows their secondary is going to be a test for them. And so that could be an issue at some point this year. But I think that obviously, I mean, just watching John Robinson work and watching him import the players he has imported, I'm just pretty confident that they have enough of the answers to, in my opinion, be a really high probability playoff team this year.
Is secondary your biggest question about the Titans?
I would say secondary, and also I would basically want to make sure that their pass rush stays healthy, because the depth there is not great. I'll take my chances with Dick LeBeau, sort of whipping up a good mix in the secondary and also figuring out a way to make sure that it's not all on their shoulders.
Is the rest of the NFL and the national media aware of the Titans?
I mean, the Titans haven't done enough to this point for everybody to say, wow, look at the Titans, nor have the Bucs. I mean, I saw the Bucs the other night in Cincinnati, and on first down, they line up Deshaun Jackson, Mike Evans, O.J. Howard, Cameron Brate, and here's Jameis Winston. He said, man, I could be blindfolded and hit somebody with that group. What we try to do in our business is we try to look at teams that are on the cusp, and we try to say, okay, who's the next really good team? And so I look at Tennessee. I think they've got a lot of the answers, and we'll see what happens. But I'll tell you one thing, having been around this year, coaches particularly are very aware of Tennessee. I was in Oakland, and that's the opener, and they're very aware of Tennessee. And to me, who would ever have said 2 years ago that game of the week 1 of the NFL season, could be Oakland and Tennessee? I mean, that's insane, but it very well could be. those could be 2 11, 12-win teams by the end of the year, and here they are meeting in week 1. That's a mega game in week 1.
Somewhere Pete Rozelle is smiling about that parody.
Well, yeah, and everybody knows that there will be 2 teams or 3 teams. Right now, if you fast forward and hand me USA Today from December 1st, and I look at the NFL standings, I don't know whether it's going to be Cleveland being 10-1 or something weird is going to be there. But I just think that in the case of both Tampa Bay and Tennessee, I think there won't be a lot of shocked people if one of those teams or both of those teams is really good come December.
Finally, Peter King, when you go through the season, how much do you go back through your training camp tour notes to make reference to things you've learned or things you thought or things of that sort during the entire course of the year on out to February?
You know, every year, sort of late in the year, I look back to the things that I said and reported in training camp because I want to see, was I smart or was I an idiot? And last year, I have to tell you, the reason why nobody in Nashville or nobody watching this should pay any attention to anything I'm saying is because last year I wrote at the end of my camp tour that Gus Bradley is going to be the coach of the year. And of course, he was the coach of the year in sort of a negative sense. But I mean, I'm wrong a ridiculous amount of the time. And I don't say that to be self-deprecating. I say it to be absolutely true. And it's why this is such a fun game. I'm investing the time and energy to go into all these buildings and try to learn these teams as much as I can. And then at the end, I try to, put everything into a sieve and shake it out and say, okay, what's left? What do I know? And the bottom line is that's why everybody loves the NFL so much, because at the end of the day, we don't know anything. And that's what makes this so much fun. You can't figure this out before it starts, and so you have to watch.
He is winding down his training camp tour, and he's part of our training camp report fueled by Gatorade. Peter King with us today here at St. Thomas Sports Bar.